You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So friends, Productivity Monsters is hitting their summer schedule. So that means PM in the AM on the T's. So Tuesdays and Thursdays is when you're going to hear from us this summer. So just to give us a little flexibility when it comes to travel and lining up guests for when the two of us are traveling this summer. But yes, if you're looking for, if you're like, where are they? Don't worry, go back. We have tons you can re-listen to.
Yes.
You will not be without us. So on the T's on Tuesdays and Thursdays is when you will hear from Brooke and Tiff with Productivity Monsters in the Morning.
Awesome. And you picked those days just because they started with T's.
Yeah, because doesn't it sound really radio hokey and fun? Like
I'm like going in my head. Yeah, there's no other letters that start with T other than those two. I had to rewind my brain.
That's how my brain works, right? I was like, oh, that's amazing. I'm going to do that. Oh, so funny. It's disgusting how well you know me, friend. That is truly how my brain works. So you know how my brain works too is I keep books everywhere. Every office, I have a lot of books and I'm always like, crap, I left that book in the office, or it's here or it's there. This one stays with me. It's called Only the Paranoid Survive by Andrew Grove. He was the CEO at Intel. It's an old book. This is, I think, my third copy because I've gone through so many or I give it away. We've done it for book clubs. But honestly, he has this thought, and for us, it's going to sound very similar. So he has something called a strategic inflection point. Not fun to say fast. Strategic inflection point. Basically a shift. So it's a time period when an organization really has to look at what disruptive change will do for the business. And it's a very decisive course of action. Or it's when here was the point where things had to change or did change. Why I love this book, and it's funny because Only the Paranoid Survive. It's not being paranoid. It's about being able to see 30,000 feet down and 3 feet in front of you all at the same time, which I'm one of those people, you're one of those people, but there are a lot of people who can only see one way.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring that up because before our call, I had my coaching call this morning, and that's exactly what we were doing. We were looking at, we were future pacing.
Yeah, you anticipate and learn how to respond. And that sounds a lot like goal planning, business planning clinic, 135s, GPS, 411s. But hear what was so important about today, because oftentimes we live in a world of chaos, but with strategic thinking, and this is why it's called strategic, is that we are training the brain on how to respond to all situations. KW lives in a world of positivity. So it's very rare you will hear us say something about a negative planning, but we do have to think future negative, future positive.
Well, you start with the positive present, the negative future, but you always land in positive future.
So here's one of the quotes he says in the book, and it's chapter 8, and it says, reign in chaos. So clarity of direction, which includes describing what we are going after, but here's the kicker, as well as describing what we will not be going after, is exceedingly important at the late stage of a strategic transformation. So oftentimes, and here's why I was thinking about us and all the things going on, oftentimes, and my 411 has changed 6 times this year, I swear to God, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because we are in a shifting market. and I'm trying to respond to the needs of our region and the different things coming at us. But oftentimes we put what we're going to do on our GPS, but we don't put what we are not going to do on our GPS.
Yes.
Which, wow, for me this morning, I was like, I have read this book 85 times. Why is this sticking now? Because things are not working in my world. And I don't have a sheet that says this year, because it could be just this year or at this moment, we are not focusing on this in the 411. But I think we think about those things because they're not written out. Just because it's not happening this year doesn't mean it can't happen next year or the year after, or when I've hit all my goals for this year.
Right. Well, yeah. And let's talk, like, how many times do you stop just because you hit a goal? You set a new one. And what would it look like if you had a whole sheet of all the new goals you would love to accomplish?
Right. And calling it things we're not going to do in lead gen. So let's bring it down to a base level for lead generation. What are some lead generation places, right? Open houses.
Yep. Well, let's just talk about a geo farm, right?
Okay.
Let's use that as an example. So as a brand new agent, it could be on their growth plan, and yet should they be focusing on it now? Because what does a geo farm take? It takes money, it takes time, it takes structure. And as a brand new agent, you're learning time, money, structure, and how to be extremely frugal to get the results you desire to use.
Correct. And here's the other thing. So you want a geo farm, you're adding that to your 411 for right now, right? We're pretending it's the beginning of the year. We're getting ready to queue up. What do you need to geo farm? What are the tools, systems, models, people, leverage, money you need? Well, great. Now you figured out you don't have 85% of those items nor the means to get them. So we are not going to focus on geo farming, but geo farming gets to go on the future pacing list. Right. What we are not going to focus on. So that way, when maybe someone new joins your team and they're excited and they're like, Tiffany, we're going to geo farm. You have the ability to say, love that. And that is not on this year's 411. We need to earn the right to do those things. It is on a future pacing, and here's where this exists. These are all the things we got to do to be able to add that into our world. So that hit me so hard. So hard this morning.
Well, and this is a great time for it, right? Because it's mid-year review.
Right.
And honestly, all of our friends should be at 65% of goal by June 30th.
And if they're not, right, then what are we not going to do? Are you logging things? Do you know the sources that are or are not working?
Yep.
And if they're not working, friends, why are we doing them? I don't get it.
Because they make us feel good. I taught Ignite last night for our Ignite after hours, and it's the first session of the lead generating. And it's exactly that, right? Like, lead generation is not fun.
I like it. I mean,
I'm glad you like it.
I know not everybody does.
A brand new agent, lead generation is not fun because they're not comfortable. Unless they're super I, which, who am I talking to on the screen right now? Hello. So that's a bottleneck for them.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think if lead generation were defined from day one in a different way, that makes sense to the everyday person who has not been in a sales relationship type of business before, our lives might look a little different as agents. If somebody said to me, Brooke, your job every day is to just continue to create and build on relationships you have, I would have been like, well, that's easy.
And I'd be like, take me somewhere else. I'm glad I didn't know. Honestly, I'm glad I didn't know, because I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't take the risk.
And how funny is that then you were able to, in a place you did not live before, build a huge business.
Yep. Yeah. So, and that separates, right? That separates the strong, that middle group that hasn't decided which way they want to go, and the ones that are just not going to do it because their discomfort is stronger than their desire.
I think, and I think those are all those personalities on the disc or the KPA or whatever, the four tendencies, whatever you want to call it is. It's just the way our brain understands it.
Yep.
And whether or not we like to do it, it's a part of our world.
Yeah.
So,
And when we talk about disc, like I'm a DC. I want it done now. I want it done right. And I want it done systemized and I'm like, let me just tell you about like fighting myself on a daily basis.
and we all do it.
Yeah. Because I don't care what you are. And it's who wins, right? It's that whole story about which wolf are you going to feed, right?
I like this. I've got a lot to think about.
Yeah. And also, not only what do you have to think about internally, but how are you going to support others?
Right. I want to grow my world so big that I get to bring others along with me.
Right. All right, my friend. I think so. I'll see you next Tuesday. Is that what I'm hearing?
What's today?
Today's only Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow.
I was like, oh my God, listen, I've had to put stickies everywhere to tell me what day of the week it is. Yesterday, I put posts up. I texted everyone I know. I was like, today is not Monday. Okay, friends, today is not Monday.
Well, Wednesdays are hard because like I literally teach and then take classes until 10 o'clock at night. So, and then I drive an hour and a half on Wednesday mornings because, why not torture yourself? So much fun. Yes. So I will see you tomorrow on Thursday.
See you tomorrow. And then it starts, and then we won't talk to you guys again till Tuesday.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye, friends.